Hi everyone. It's Saturday. It's noon. I'm here in New York. It's a beautiful day, even though it's a bit windy. And spring is upon us. I mean, you can just see all the flowers budding and trees are beginning to bloom, and some of them have actually already bloomed. And strangely enough, my Christmas cactus is blooming. Now, I don't know about you all, but if you have a Christmas cactus, have you ever seen it bloom in almost mid-April? It's kind of crazy. So I've got these amazing blooms that are just like coming out. So it's uh, it's kind of taking in the beauty around because certainly there's so much pain and suffering and grief going on around us. And even if you don't turn on the news, it's a reminder every day when you don't get up and go to work, or when you realize that you've had no contact, physical contact with another being for a bit of a while. And so even if you're not listening to those news stories or the radio, you're, you're certainly feeling it on some level. And I'm hoping that you've been able to calm yourself by being out there, talking to people. And when I say out there, social distancing, but using Zoom, using Facebook, using all the tools that we have for virtual communication. So let me introduce myself. I'm Edie Nathan. I'm a psychotherapist here in New York, also public speaker. Love to talk about grief and loss and trauma because, and it might seem strange, why does this woman love to talk about this stuff? Because it's something we don't talk about. Because we like to act often like we're not touched by grief. We're not touched by certain trauma or by loss. And we swallow it, we eat it away, we drink it away. And so that's why I love talking about it, because it feels like if we can bring this conversation out there, then maybe there's not that 500-pound gorilla in the room, and maybe then our self-care improves and our relationships improve and just our sense of calm and being is better. Our focus is better. And we're not running. We're just not running. Part of grief and learning about grief is asking yourself, what am I missing? What am I yearning? What am I hungry for? And with all of this time that we've got, and you may be on some level busier than ever before, and I get that because I feel that. I feel like I'm running from one appointment to the next, and the energy to be online, it almost takes more energy. So I understand that it might even feel like you have less time, but the weekends are the weekends, and it's often a time where we rest, where we relax, where we go out, where we socialize, where we've got plans. And now we're with ourselves, and we're meeting ourselves. And there's that grief, or maybe there's that loss, or that memory of a past trauma that might have been tucked away, that we didn't look at, that you didn't look at, or feel, or acknowledge, or even remember. So our memories, they come upon us in different ways. And sometimes our memories, they bring us back to a time, and it's filled with love and laughter and joy, and those memories are just amazing. And sometimes we have memories that are trigger memories, and we know that they're trigger memories, and so we put them away. And some people, a lot of folks, successfully put them away. And what I mean by that is you put it away so that it's not an obstacle. It doesn't cause you to not be the full, alive person you are. And sometimes in times of crisis, when we're stuck or trapped, those memories that we've successfully put away, or maybe even really forgotten, may creep in. And when they creep in, your grief from a long time ago might begin to surface. If that's been happening for you, I'd like you to just acknowledge, okay, this is happening. And I don't want it to happen, it's happening. I'd like you to name it, call it by what it is. This happened in the past. And maybe even write some notes about it. Jot some things down. And once you do that, ask yourself, what's the hardest part of this memory? And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to imagine that you take that memory and you put it into a ball. It's like you take that memory and you just crunch it up and you put it into a ball and you put it into a ball until it's a really, really tight ball. It's so tight. And you take that ball and you throw it up away from you into the sky. And it's obviously metaphorical, but you're throwing it up. You're throwing it up. And you're releasing yourself from it in that moment. And as you throw it up into the sky, I want you to take a breath and let it go. And then I'd like you to think for a moment, right now in this moment, if you could replace that with just a feeling, a sense, an aroma, what would you replace it with? It's not like by replacing it, it's gone, but the emergency of it can be. So what do you want to drop down from the sky that might soothe you, that might help with the memory that is disturbing and hurtful and getting in your way right now? So I'd like you now to think, what would I want to bring down? I'm a big aroma person, so I might want to bring down the aroma of lavender. And if you have lavender at home, great. Maybe even smell some lavender. That's bringing the scent down. Or bring another memory down, or bring perhaps even rain as a means of cleansing. Imagine that from the sky, you're like being cleansed. It's like a waterfall. And that waterfall is just coming over you and you're breathing. It's a special kind of waterfall. You can breathe when the water comes over you. And just by doing this switch, it's a switch. It's like you're taking the memory, you're throwing it up away from you into the sky, and then another memory or thought or scent or even a waterfall comes down and changes where you are, changes your perspective in this moment. Now, if you are finding that these traumatic memories are cycling, they're coming in quickly, what I'd like you to do is just try to capture them, try to write down whatever's going on. Be aware also of what's going on in your body, because we know that the body is a communicator for our traumas and also our grief. And it holds these memories, our hearts, our bellies, our shoulders, our heads. Our bodies hold our memories. So even if we don't want to remember, they can lodge somewhere in the body. So do a body scan if you're getting this cycling of memories, and identify where in the body does it feel either hot or cold or overwhelming or distant. And you're just going to go through that body scan. And let's say you realize that the place of tightness or anxiety or anger, or where the memory is lodged, and you can say, where is this memory lodged? What I'd like you to do is just go into that place, let's say in your belly, and hold it and talk to it and say, I recognize that you're there. I can feel you. And I've been ignoring you, but I can feel you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to recognize you. Because what we know is the more we try to act like something isn't there, the bigger it gets. So we might want to pretend that, COVID-19 doesn't exist, or we're going to avoid what's going on in the world, and yes, we'll quarantine or we'll stay in place, but I'm going to avoid knowing anything about this. That is somewhat of your trauma, or some kind of agitation or fear that's coming up. And you probably have somewhere in your body that's holding it. So what I'd love for you to do is start to recognize this place in your body. And even if you just spend 1 minute with it, 1 minute, you just say, I recognize it, and I know that there's anxiety there. I know that there's anger there. I know that I can't just make it disappear. But you know what you can do? You could place your hand on that area, and you could just say, I recognize you. Name what is going on in terms of what you recognize. Maybe how long it's been there. And then say it's going to be okay. Because I'm recognizing you. And I'm not in avoidance. And I know you came out because I'm in this quarantine and I've had to be by myself and on my own. And it's been bringing up these memories that I have very safely put away. These are 2 exercises. The one where you take the memory and you throw it away, or you could take an emotion like anger and just put it up into the sky and let something else new, refreshing, different, a new thought, a new cognition come down. And you're breathing all the while that you're doing this. And then also the body exercise. And really recognize what's going on in the body and where the body is holding your anger, that memory, that anxiety. And name it. Call it for what it is. By not avoiding it, you actually help it to calm down. So today, if you've needed these exercises, I hope they help. And if it wasn't something you needed, okay, but put it away. And if you know someone who you feel might just need a little relief from their grief, or from maybe traumatic memories that are starting to surface, because we are ripe for these memories to surface, share this with them. You might help someone, and helping is actually a gift. And when we help, when we reach out, when we give, it's healing. It's healing for the brain, for the body, for the soul, and for the psyche. So I hope that you have a healthy Saturday, a Saturday where you have reached out to some people. And I'd like you to reach out to 3 people, tell them something that made you laugh, maybe share this exercise with them, and tell them something you miss about them. Or if you don't miss anything about them, then ask them what's going on and just be curious. You've got this. You've had the power all along. And the more people you reach out to, even if it's just a hello, the less isolated you may feel. I'll see you tomorrow, Sunday, and yes, with all recognition that it is Easter Sunday, we'll still meet, and I'd love to hear if there's anything you'd like to talk about. So have a good day. Bye for now.